Hello and welcome to Flipped Maths with Mrs. D. Hoog. Today our topic is the lattice multiplication strategy, and we are learning to use this when solving multiplication problems. The lattice multiplication method or strategy is when you use a lattice when multiplying. If you've ever seen, let's see, perhaps in people's gardens, they've got some sort of lattice thing where things are growing up, or it's just a security measure. Looks something like this. This is what we'll be using to multiply today. Just a quick recap that multiplication is when you add a number to itself a certain number of times. For example, we have 3 times 2 equals 6. There are 3, lots of 2. So we've got 1, 2, 3 lots of 2, 2, 4, 6. 6 is the answer to 3 times 2. Now, the lattice method just uses the boxes or the lattice and breaks it up into place value. So I'm just going to rub this bit out here. Perhaps make this one a bit larger. So for example, with 3 times 2, this would be this is the lattice method of just going across, and some people draw straight lines like this. Others prefer doing dots to show the final answer. This will make a lot more sense in a moment once we go through this one. I think I prefer the dots because it just shows you this is the answer section on the outside. So basically, when you create a lattice like this, the first column in the bottom right hand corner is the ones column, and then this one here is the tens column. So perhaps I should put this a bit neater. The ones column there. So 3 times 2 is 6. So there are 0 tens and 6 ones. So then we just find our total by adding up these diagonal columns. 6 plus nothing else there. We don't actually focus at all on the number on the outside. We're just looking at the small parts on the inside of a lattice. So there's 6, and then there's 0 here. We're not going to write 0 there because there's nothing else beyond that, and 0, as we know, is just a placeholder. So the answer is 6. So 3 times 2 is 6. Now, we will use this strategy in class for practice, and I'll just show you a few more examples in a moment. But just a reminder that multiplication isn't just something that you learn at school just because the teachers say so. It's actually something that can help you solve everyday problems. For example, if you have a party, or let's say Sam has a party and has 42 friends and wants to give each of them 12 gifts, how many gifts will he need to buy in order to accomplish this? These are everyday problems, not necessarily the number of friends and gifts that you would give them, but we do encounter these sorts of problems every day, and sometimes it's actually nice to have a few strategies up your sleeve to not have to rely on a calculator all the time to solve those problems. So, remember to rewind the video at any point if you need to. Let's move into some more examples. Just going to fold this one over. For 5 times 6, we'll just set up our lattice. Because it's only a 1 digit by a 1 digit, we're only going to have one box like this. Cut it down the middle for the place value. Have a think about which column is which diagonal is the ones, which one is the tens. Good. Hopefully you remember that this one is the ones column and this one is the tens column when you're working out your small parts to the answer. So 5 times 6, you would write the answer in here. You can count in 5s, you can count in 6s, or you can just recall it if you can. So you could go 6 lots of 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. The answer is 30. I'm going to place the 3 and the 0 as like that because there are 0 ones and there are 3 tens in 30. And then for my answer on the outside, I simply just need to add up my inner columns in here. Right now there's only 1 digit in each of those, So it's just going to be 0 and then 3, because it's 3 plus, there's nothing else in these columns. And I know, as I said before, we do not, or perhaps I didn't, we do not focus on these outside numbers, the numbers 5 and 6, because we're just adding up the smaller numbers to the problem, or the smaller answers to the problem. This will make a lot more sense once we move into the next one. So for the next one, 50 times 6, it's a 2-digit number multiplied by a 1-digit number. So we have 50. I probably should spread this out a little bit more. 50 times 6. So you'll need 2 boxes for this one. We'll just do the diagonal lines, set up our answer area on the outside, remembering that this is the ones column, this is the tens column, and have a think, what is this column here? That's right, it's the hundreds column. So put hundreds there. Now let's solve our problem. So we have, first of all, we just cover up the 5. We don't need to deal with that one right now. 0 times 6. If I have 6 lots of 0, I have 0. So there are no 10s and no 1s. Well, 0 10s and 0 1s. Then I need to go, what's 5 times 6? That's 30. Or what's 50 times 6, which would be 300. In a moment you'll see. And now we're just going to add up this bit here. So in the ones column I only have 0. In the tens column I have 0 and 0, so it's 0. And in the hundreds column I have 3. So the answer is 300. So 50 times 6 is 300. And the next example here is 71 multiplied by 62. So just quickly setting that one up, we have 71. So this one here we've got 2 digits by 2 digits, so we're going to have 4 sections inside. So 71 times 62. Just going to set up my diagonal lines so I can form my lattice. I'm setting up my answer area. You can do straight lines in this section, but I prefer to have the dots just to tell my brain that it's a separate area, it's the answer area. Just remembering as well that we have the ones column, or the ones diagonal column. This section here is the tens column, hundreds. And then what's this section at the end? Have a think. Thousands. Excellent. Got the thousands there. That's just going to help us when we add them up later. So, first of all, we start off with what's 1 times 6? 6. So it's 0 and then 6, because there are 0 tens and there's 6 ones. It's 6. Then what is 1 times 2? So we're not looking at the 6 now, just the 1 times 2. Ooh. Cover up my hand there. So 1 times 2 is 2. So 0 tens and 2 ones. 1 times 2 is 2. So I've got 1 times 62 sorted now. Which is, if you were to add the columns up now and forget about the 7 or the 70, it would be 62. So now we're going to forget about the 1 and we're going to multiply 70 by 62. Because we've got our column set up of the place value, for the place value, it's actually going to give us the correct answer. So let's have a look. What's 7 times 6? So you just have a think about that for a moment. Oh, it's 42. So you go 42. And then what is 7 times 2? 14. Excellent. Then we just add them up. So the ones column, there's just 2. So remember, we don't look at the outside parts. We're just adding up the smaller parts in the middle, the answers, broken up in the middle here. And then 6 plus 4 is 10. So I put my 1 in the hundreds column to hold that there. It's 10. Then we need, that's the same as 60 plus 40, which is 100. If you were thinking of just this column here, but that's going into the place value, just in case you're interested. And then we have 2 plus 1 plus 1, which is 4, and then 4 plus nothing, because there's no other number in the thousands column in the centre here or in the middle, so it's 4. So the answer is, or the answer to 71 times 62 is 4,402. And there's your answer. So hopefully you can still see that. It's 2. Sorry about my, there we go. And let's now look at some to practice by yourself. So, let's just grab. Now it's your turn. Questions will be on your homework sheet. First problem is 4 times 3. Second is 31 times 5. And the last one is 48 times 16. So please have a go at answering those using the lattice multiplication strategy on your homework sheet. And pause the video now to have a go. Right, and here are the answers. So I've already prepared these answers and broken it up. Just check through your answers on your homework sheet, see how you went. And thank you so much. Oh, make sure you pause the video now so you can check your answers in the homework sheet and on the homework sheet in the check column. And thank you so much for listening to and watching this video on the lattice multiplication strategy. I hope it is helpful to you.